Hello Anubhav sir. Everyone, this is Anubhav sir. He is one of our DSC seniors. He's currently working at Zomato. We wanted to interview him about his experience in placements and internships and see how his software development knowledge helped him to get to where he is right now. So, I guess, sir, we would like to start with your introduction. If you could just introduce yourselves in a few words, that would be amazing.
I graduated from DTU in 2020. Uh, Basically, I was part of the DSC from third year.
Hmm.
I was the Android lead at DSC. I did some projects as well, like URL shortener,
Yeah.
which is present on our GitHub also. And I did my internship from Zomato, and from there I got my pre-placement offer,
Right.
and here I am at Zomato. I'm currently also working on the consumer app Zomato.
The first thing that I wanted to ask is how did you get started with Android development during college?
So basically, I first did my at the end of first year, I did my C++ course.
Okay.
After doing the C++, I immediately started doing Android development. So me with my two friends, we enrolled for the Android development course at Coding Blocks,
Okay.
and from there it was a course of about 4 months.
Mm-hmm.
We completed that course. At the end of that course, we were given an assignment to deploy our own app to Play Store. So I made basically the app which use Places API,
Okay.
Places API, Maps API. So basically, I made an app which basically uh, whichever location or place you type, it
Mm-hmm.
finds all the nearby restaurants, hotels, places, and also included filters as well. So using Places API, I did that, and I deployed it on Play Store. Yeah, so basically from there my journey started, and after that I uh, basically App Store optimization. You
Yeah.
might some of you might have heard about it. So basically, I thought of creating another app called URL Shortener. So I looked upon on Play Store. There were very very well, there was no app present on Play Store which could include all the URL shortener present, like TinyURL, BitLY, ISGD. So basically, I made that app with my two friends, and I used architecture, MVVM architecture in that, Kotlin, design pattern, all these things. So basically, it enhanced my Android knowledge, or as well, it more or less helped me in my internship project as well as Zomato. Zomato came over campus in February around. So there was a CGPA criteria that was around 8 CGPA, and I surpassed that. And after that, there was an online test conducted on InterviewBit. It included two questions. One was of linked list, and one was of basically you might have heard of running integers. We insert integers, and basically we had to make two heaps, main heap and max heap, and we had to find the median along the way. So two questions of that, and there were around 8 questions of MCQ.
Right.
So that revolved around logical ability, operating system, DBMS. Basically, yeah, 8 questions included that topics.
Right. Could you walk us through how I think a lot of these questions are related to the topic of data structures and algorithms, which are highly prioritized by companies that give on campus placements, right? Could you walk us through how you actually prepared for that? Did you do a course or did you just practice daily on your own? Could you just walk us through that process?
So basically, I had done a C++ course at Coding Blocks. So I had my basic strongs. I knew graphs, I knew DP. So before appearing for internship season, I did an internship as well at a startup.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't have that much time to prepare. So basically, what I did was ki if a company was appearing 10, 12 days, I would suppose Amazon was appearing. So I prepared for that company on Geeks for Geeks. I checked for the company questions on Geeks for Geeks. I solved those it gave me confidence. And also there is an app website present, practice.geeks.org. So you can without seeing, so basically geeks.org will give you direct solution. So you can practice your question first at practice.geeks.org, then you can move on to Geeks for Geeks and take a slight hint, then go back to practice section and solve that question, and then you can see the complete answer. So basically, I guess that was a strategy employed by me.
So I guess the next thing that we should logically get into is your actual internship experience at Zomato. What projects were you given? How did you approach those projects? What knowledge in your college career that you earned helped you during those projects? Can you just simply walk us through what your project was and how did you approach it?
So basically, the first day that I joined Zomato, I was given a basically a free hand. Whatever you can choose, you can choose any technology, you can choose any product. So I chose, as I had experience in Android, I chose to work on basically a new app was being developed on native system, that was the restaurant app. So basically, we have the consumer app, restaurant app, and the rider app. There are three apps of Zomato that Zomato controls. So the earlier the restaurant app was on React Native. Now it was completely going to be made in Kotlin. So I basically started working on that, and basically it was completely new. Basically, it started from when I joined at Zomato. uh, we used MVVM architecture, live data, everything, every possible way, latest technology, and yeah, basically I learned around this, the first, I made a first PR, and I had around 40 comments in it. So it was a it told me that every line that you write
Hmm.
in your internship, or in when you have joined the company, it matters because it impacts the users. So basically, if the company that you joined has 1 lakh, 2 lakh, 200 million users, so it impacts every line that you write is does matter.
Do you think your knowledge of Android development in college actually helped you with that process, or do you think if you had started as a complete beginner, you would still have been able to, achieve your goal and get the PPO?
So basically, if I had starting completely beginner, it would have been overwhelming to me directly jumping onto MVVM architecture,
Yeah.
Kotlin, not have basics of Java. So it would have been very difficult for me to grab a PPO, and to basically, when you join a company like Zomato, that they are fast-paced companies. So we develop features in a week rather than taking 2 weeks. So you don't have that much time to learn and uh, prepare. Like, you can't do a course in between your job, right? So you have to have slight prior experience in that. So therefore it helped for me. Yeah.
Before you got the internship, the companies which come on campus, they usually ask for comparative coding skills and data structures and algorithms. But when you actually get to the place and you work on software projects, you generally have to work on real life development skills, right? Could you just walk us through what is the difference between writing code for competitive coding and data structures and algorithm questions versus writing code for actual software development projects? What has been your experience regarding that?
So basically, when we write during a contest, we don't have that much time to look into what variables have we created, extra variables, extra array lists. We have done coupling modules, we have separated them into modules. So basically, all the software engineering practices that we have learned, we don't take them into consideration while writing our competitive programming code.
Right.
So all these things matter when you write code in a product based company or service based company, because like I said, every single line matters. So whatever, but basically you have written a two you have declared two variables which were of no use. So you cannot do that while writing your code in a in a software, in a product based company.
Could you also take us through how the actually things you learned regarding object-oriented programming, such as polymorphism and all, how did they help you in completing your projects and understanding your existing code base?
So all these Java related things will actually basically I learned Android development, so I learned Java. So I had complete knowledge of in inheritance, polymorphism, and all these things. So they actually help while writing. If you have written basically in Android, we have view models, repositories. So all these things somehow work by in inheritance and polymorphism. So basically, you should have knowledge. Either you write a code in Spring MVC, all Spring MVC
Right.
Java, and you should have knowledge, basic knowledge of polymorphism. Either in C++ or Java, both should work. Polymorphism, inheritance.
Right.
Yeah, they are used in real life projects as well. They are not just for key uh, books, not just
Not just theoretical concepts, I guess. They are actually applied in practice as well. You said that you learned Android development in college, but right now you also mentioned things such as Spring MVC, which is a backend framework in Java. You also mentioned that for Android development you learned Java, but then eventually you transitioned to Kotlin. So in all of these things, I'm seeing a common pattern that you started off with the base knowledge in one domain, and that helped you transition your existing knowledge to other domains as well. Could you walk us through some of those things which helped you that you learned in Android development, but also were useful in other areas?
So basically, I'm currently I was basically a few days back I was looking at what all can be learned in iOS development. So uh, when I was looking at the course, so it was basically using the same architecture, MVVM architecture, which is used in Android as well. It is used the same architecture pattern, design patterns. So what I am saying basically, if you have domain of one knowledge, you can hop on to backend as well, you can hop on to iOS development as well, and you can hop on to React Native as well. So all these are binded by their own architecture patterns, design patterns. If you can learn one design pattern, you can learn architecture pattern, you can work onto one thing, work on at least 2 or 3 years, then you can hop on to any other thing. So it shouldn't be that much difficult.
Yeah, I guess the knowledge must be transferable at least some level. Is That's what I actually inferred from that. Our juniors in college, one of them actually wanted to ask a question whether your experience at Zomato changed the way you write code in your own personal projects or even in the code you write at Zomato. So how has that learning helped you change your coding style over time?
So when I completed my internship at Zomato, whenever I whenever looked at the competitive programming code, it looked a kind of weird to me, but it was not readable. Variable names, all these things actually very important. So I will give you an example. So one of my friend was giving an Google based interview, and they were they rejected him because he hasn't declared, so basically declared ABC variable names, and he hadn't declared them meaning, he had not given them meaningful names. So he was rejected just on the basis of not writing a clean code and a meaningful code.
Right.
So these things, I guess you should learn from the starting, and you should practice it from the starting as well. uh, just don't leave it to the end. Basically, I will do it at the interview end. All these practices, all these practices will be in the moment of time. You might forget them. So learn it from the starting, and use it from the when you learn, use it from the start as well.
Right. I guess they generally develop as bad habits and then it's hard to get rid of them later
Yeah,
on in the career,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So just one small question from my own side. So software development is not just about writing algorithms and learning about data structures. You also have to deal with a lot of external tools. Git is actually one very popular example
Yeah,
in which, if you are working with a real collaborative team, then you need to make sure that you know things such as VCS and not just Git, but maybe other version control systems as well. There's also the thing of some etiquettes that you need to follow while reviewing other people's code, like in GitHub PRs, or maybe opening an issue on an existing repository or something, in which you need to make sure that you're taking care of your colleagues while writing code, and also making sure that your communications are very polite and professional with everyone else.
yeah,
Do you feel
yeah.
Do you feel that as your experience at Zomato, it has helped you become a better developer while working in a team, and how has that particular aspect changed since college?
So when I did my internship, I already told that I had 40 comments on my PR, and it was basically I had right off jump from my college to the internship project. So I did some mistakes as well. So there were 40 comments, but they weren't reflective of matlab, they were they were very polite in nature. And even if whenever my mentor did my second code review as well, they were very even there were 20 more comments. So basically they reflected that it is a collaborative environment and everybody learns from each other's mistakes. So if I did one mistake, my mentor, or if my mentor did one mistake, I would look at his PR and I should not repeat that mistake as well. So I guess it is a collaborative environment in which we learn from each other as well. So all these etiquettes all so if basically if I currently in Zomato, if I have a issue on, if I have a bug which needs to be resolved, so what we do is we create a issue and we assign it to somebody, or we assign labels to that, and we do but then we point that issue to a PR, and then we close that issue when the PR gets merged. So all these things, etiquettes, software development, all these you can learn from only when you do a project, internship project, or can directly work on a company. Or I would suggest you, most of the students, until unless you have an internship, you can hop on to open source projects.
Exactly, yeah.
They are very good open source projects as well. Like I worked on Wikimedia Commons for a month, and I learned very much from it. So basically there were it was using React based pattern, observer patterns, and yeah, basically you should use uh, you should hop on to some open source projects as well. Yeah.
I personally believe in open source a lot too. A lot of the DSC stuff we do here at DTU is also open
Yeah.
source, and I think that also encourages newcomers. So on-campus placements are obviously something that everyone pursues while they're in college, practicing in DSA, applying to companies that come on campus, and trying to clear coding tests and interviews. Another aspect of it is the off-campus placements. I think you did very well there, as you said that you had two offers off campus. So could you please walk us through where exactly should we, what exactly are the places where we should apply for off-campus opportunities? How do we make sure that recruiters don't ghost us or our resume actually gets reviewed?
So off-campus internships or placements, working basically, I applied through LinkedIn. So you categorize basically tier-wise companies are categorized. So top tier companies like Amazon, Fang, we call Fang it. So they mainly, if you go apply through basically the recruiter on LinkedIn, you message the recruiter on LinkedIn, it doesn't affect that much because there are already an openings present on their website as well. So for the companies like, I'm giving example like Zomato, Dunzo, Magic Pin, GoIbibo, Make My Trip, all these companies just basically the below the tier one they call, or Fang. All these companies may or may not have the openings present on the careers page, but they do have internal openings in the team as well. So basically, if I am working at Zomato and my team requires one or two developers, so so basically what happened, a student contacted my mentor, and my mentor interviewed the candidate and he was selected. So there was actually not an opening on careers page, but there are openings always present in the internal teams as well at product based companies. Yeah. So what I would suggest, key, first make a good resume and then apply on LinkedIn. So if I am targeting a company like Zomato, so I would first uh, send a connection request to recruiters, software developers, or engineering managers. So before sending the connection request, make sure to send a nice message to them. Why are you connecting with them, and what is your purpose? And after the connection request gets accepted, you can write a nice message to them that you like that feature, or you are why are you interested in working at Zomato, and send your resume as well.
Okay.
So what I would suggest is, if you send to around 40 50 people, don't expect that all of these people will reply. So just like I'm working in a and I'm working at Zomato, so many of the people don't get time to look at all the messages. So it's okay to, if one or in if you have applied 50, if you apply to 50 people, if one of them only replies, so it's okay. It happened with me, it will happen, so it's not an issue. So make sure when you get an interview call,
Hmm.
so try to uh, yeah so uh, try to strengthen your DSA, and yeah, basically projects, whatever you write in resume, you should have a grip and hold on what have you done, and what are the users, how many users are impacted by this project, and all of that. So I would suggest LinkedIn is the main source where you can grab off-campus internships or placements.
Right.
Yeah. So basically, yeah. So every uh, mo- so first I will suggest ki make the list of companies that you're targeting or you are interested uh, in joining them,
Hmm.
and uh, send a connection request to the recruiters and software developers, and then you can proceed with if any of them replies with, or any of them refers to you a position, you can then yeah hop on to interview, and yeah,
Yeah,
and
definitely
all
it
of
makes
that.
sense. I mean, searching for recruiters, asking them politely, and then expecting
Yeah,
that you will not always get replies. I think that's a part of
yeah.
the process.
So
Right.
basically, I would suggest ki uh, take it around, if you apply to 100 people,
Hmm.
expect around five of them will reply to you. So take a 5%, yeah, around possibility of them
Right.
replying to you, and yeah. So it's don't be disheartened by ki if
Yeah.
this guy hasn't replied. Yeah,
Yeah.
so keep on trying, I guess. Matlab,
Yeah. I
off
mean, it's
campus is
not
very
always
difficult,
personal,
but
right? They always have a
yeah,
lot of
yeah,
candidates messaging them and
yeah,
applying for positions, I
yeah.
guess. Do you have some tips on how to make sure your resume gets noticed, does not get ignored by everyone, by recruiters? What has your been experience regarding crafting a good resume?
So first of all, you should have a good layout resume. So there are two types of layouts in resume. So one is the we have divided the our left left part contains all the programming profiles, CodeChef, CodeForces, uh, HackerRank, and right part contains the projects. And there are another type of resume in which we have left pane for all the projects, and right small pane for achievements and all of that. So I will share with Chitij all the two types of resume. You can align them according to your needs. If you're a competitive programmer, you can use left pane for computer programming profiles, and if you're a software developer, your main focus is on projects, keep them on the left. Yeah. Then hopping on to projects. So uh, you have to write projects, at least two projects in your resume, and these two, if you're a competitive programmer, you should write your more focus should be on the competitive programming profiles. So if you're good at you have a good rank at Code Forces, you're a master candidate master, or your 5 star at CodeChef, you should write it in achievement section, as well as attach your username as well, so one can take a look at that, and make sure to make it a hyperlink.
Right.
So if you, most of the recruiters, they don't see your resume on their mobile, they see it on their laptop, so they can directly click on the link, and yeah, they can look at your profile, Codeforces CodeChef profile. Yeah, if you're a software developer, make sure you have good projects. Only projects, like if I have made a project right now, I make a to-do app, I made it public on GitHub, and if no one is using it, there is no matlab, your project would not be special. So if 100 resume comes in, and most of these don't have any users, projects don't have any users, so it would like get all normal and your resume wouldn't stand out.
Right.
So if you're a software developer, I would recommend that make sure whatever project that you make, if you are enough experience in that field, you should make that project on the basis of the uh, make that project on the basis of whatever the users like. So if the current, so if I'm giving an example, if the current
I
demand
understand
is,
what you're saying. I mean, so a couple of takeaways that I got from that was, first of all, you need to highlight whatever you're good at, whether it be competitive
yeah,
programming or software development. So make sure that you are actually highlighting whatever your strength is. And secondly, if you're focusing on competitive programming, make sure that all of your highly rated profiles are clearly showcased on your resume. On the other hand, if you're a software developer, just make sure your projects are being used by real people. If they're apps, they should
yeah,
be actually having a lot of downloads on Play Store. If you have a website, they should have a lot of monthly active users or something. If you're a library developer, just make sure that it's used in some open source projects or it has a lot of stars. So I guess those would be some ways of getting your resume noticed, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right. So I guess we're almost approaching the end of this interview. I really appreciate your time that you have given us. I understand it must not be easy to dedicate a few hours to us over the weekend, but I really appreciate the time you took out for us. If you had to give a small piece of advice to your juniors, what would that be?
So uh, from the start begin writing meaningful code. Do not write anything like just for the sake of learning.
Hmm.
Write meaningful code from starting, and make sure that whatever you project that you make, post it on GitHub. Make sure that everyone can see it,
Hmm.
and write clean code from the starting. Yeah, I make sure you have the habit of writing the clean code. And uh, one thing that I would tell you, don't get disheartened when you don't clear interviews or your resume don't selected.
Right.
it it happens, and more or less basically there are around many companies. So you can, if one company rejects, if 10 companies reject, if 100 companies reject, you have still or 1,000 companies to
Yeah.
apply as well. So don't get disheartened if you don't qualify for the interview, or if you get rejected from the last. So every interview experience is a learning experience. So I would give my example that on campus interviews I was rejected in over 60 companies.
Wow.
So that's why I applied off campus, and
Hmm.
I back to off campus internship.
Hmm.
So don't get disheartened. Take this as a learning experience. And so I have been basically looking at LinkedIn and hearing about FANG, and yeah. So if you don't clear FANG, so don't be disheartened. They are very good companies. You can learn from them as well. But they're not only limited 6 companies, 5 or 6 companies that will make you a good software developer. There are other companies as well that will make you good software engineer.
Right.
So focus on being a good software engineer rather than being at the best company in the world and then doing nothing. So
Yeah,
being
definitely. I mean, makes sense.
yeah,
Fang might be very good companies, but they are not the only good companies, right?
yeah, yeah.
So I guess that's it for the advice then. Thank you so much, sir, for your time. I really appreciate you devoting a few hours to us, and all the best for your future. And let's see, let's hope that all of your advice helps out our juniors. And yeah, I hope they do great. Thank you
Yeah.
so much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.